Let me introduce you to these beautiful ladies that are coming to the stage. Anjali has proven expertise in organizational agility, product leadership, and creative collaboration. She is the driving force behind PPL Coach, her boutique coaching and consulting practice based in Tampa, Florida in the USA. Anjali seamlessly integrates ideas for diverse contexts, unlocks the creative potential within groups, and embodies vulnerability in the pursuit of empowering others. Along with Nadezhda, she co-created the product leadership stances meta model that you are going to learn about today. Now, Nadezhda Belousova is an edge dweller. I love this term, by the way. Edge dweller who is blending and cross-pollinating knowledge domains and discovering universal patterns. She is a co-creator of product leadership stances and an integral master coach, strategic advisor, and business and agility consultant who mixes together insights from biomimicry, polarities, management, and integral theory. But more importantly, did you know that they met in a conference and now they have a project together? They both had their own practices and they met at a congress. So whenever I ask you, have you met someone new today? You know, you can be the new, you can have a new project or create something together with someone that you met just today. So don't forget to network. And without further ado, please, Nadezhda, Anjali, come to the stage and tell us, pollinate us with your knowledge.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here. We are really, really thrilled to be able to share our meta model and product leadership stances with all of you. And today we're going to talk about it in the context of unlocking creativity and enabling fluent shape-shifting between essential perspectives. First.
Yeah, and to start this talk, we would like to ponder a rather philosophical question with you. Well, it doesn't have right or wrong answer, but it can help uncover certain assumptions and beliefs we might be holding about product leadership. So we're really curious to hear from you. In your opinion, product leadership, is it more like an art, as it requires innate talent to generate and express original ideas, connection to inner source of wisdom, and following one's intuition and instincts to let the unique vision unfold? Or maybe you're thinking that it's more like a science, because it is based, excuse me. One, two, okay. Yeah. Agility in action, fixing on the go. So, or maybe you think about product leadership more in terms of science, because it is based on rigorous, evidence-based research, data-informed decisions, reliability and viability of the experiment's outcomes. Or maybe you're closer to the opinion that product leadership is more of a craft, because it is elevated through refining technical skills and techniques, masterful usage of tools, and discipline in following through someone's task.
So we want to hear from you. And to do that, we're going to be using a tool called Mentimeter. Now you can connect to Mentimeter using that QR code on your phones, or you can open a browser and go to menti.com and use the code 47326637. This will appear periodically, so you'll be able to connect to it at any time. In fact, you could interact with all of the slides in our presentation through Mentimeter. Give us a little heart or a thumbs up or a thumbs down throughout the presentation. Let us know what's resonating, what you like, what you don't like. But for right now, let's see a response to this question.
All right. That's one of the talks where we actively ask people to use their mobile phones. Cannot believe that.
All right, lots of love for craft. Any pun intended there?
Oh, look at that.
Ooh.
I think maybe the leading craft has something to do that we're at Craft Tech Summit.
Possible, possible. Oh, there's lots of craftspeople here. Wonderful. Look at that building. There seems to be some love for each. Anyone having a hard time choosing just one? Yeah. It's probably reflective of the fact that that is why product leadership is both daunting and exhilarating, don't you think? Well, my name is Anjali, and Rico, thank you so much for those generous introductions of both of us. This is my third time in Budapest, thanks to Craft Hub, and I'm always excited to come here and meet this community. And today, on stage with, oh, by the way, my passion for product leadership, my passion for product leadership lies because I see the power and potential that it holds to blend art, science, and craft to create meaningful value in a meaningful way. And today, I am so thrilled to share the stage with my collaborator, my partner in crime, and the co-creator of Product Leadership Stances, Nadezhda.
Hello, my name is Nadezhda. I came here all the way from Berlin, and my connection to creativity in product leadership, except of being apparently very awkward on the stage with lots of things, is normalizing the weirdness of human experience and asking powerful questions, like the one we kicked off this session with. Through our work with many organizations, we came to understanding that product leadership is an organizational capability that is omnipresent and inhabits many dimensions and functions of work. Just like quality assurance or security, it is seamlessly woven into the fabric of our daily tasks, decision-making logic, and even the way that organizations evolve. So, why are we talking about creativity in product leadership today, and what does it even mean? So, we decided to illustrate it with a few examples for you. If you're looking for a creativity masterclass in supply chain management and holistic functional product design, take a look at IKEA. IKEA's revolutionary flat pack concept in packaging, together with modularity, stackability, customization of their products, along with strategic focus on supply chain efficiency and digitalization, enables functional, affordable, innovative solutions for their ever-growing customer base. Who here owns at least one thing from IKEA? That's what I'm talking about.
And then there's Zipline. How many of you have heard of Zipline? It's a drone delivery service that was started in Rwanda, Africa. It delivers blood and essential medical supplies to medical facilities in and around the hilly regions of Rwanda. Their primary focus is to save lives. And so they use innovative and sophisticated drone technology that's optimized for speed and precision. Within 15 to 30 minutes of receiving a request via a simple WhatsApp message or SMS, this life-saving little package is delivered to its target location with pretty remarkable precision, using, you know what? A wax paper parachute. This autonomous drone is launched using an electric catapult. And on its return, it's literally snagged from the air through a precision cable between two poles and then put right back on the launching pad to deliver another precious package. pure, simple creativity. Sophistication and simplicity all blended.
And one more example is the marketing campaign of Red Bull of 1994, when they tried to enter a new market in London, already overly saturated with various energy drinks. Their marketers came up with an extraordinary idea that didn't involve paid promotion, direct advertising, or celebrity endorsement. How did they do that? They used garbage bins. Garbage bins next to the most popular London nightclubs and restaurants. They loaded those garbage bins with empty, crashed Red Bull cans, conveniently designed to be visible to everyone passing by, clearly signaling that Red Bull was the energy drink of choice. And within just 2 months thereafter, Red Bull became the most popular energy drink in London. They creatively combined attention economics and social proof marketing.
What do these stories have in common? They're all great examples of creativity in product leadership. And from these stories, you can see how creativity in product leadership has many faces. It comes in different shapes, colors, sizes. And we can tap into this creativity by leveraging constraints, by noticing subliminal patterns, by optimizing for certain factors, like precision and accuracy, by understanding users' behaviors, and just by being inspired through stories. You can see how creativity clearly stirs innovation. But you know what? It can also bring some playfulness and joy into our product work, right? So that's what we're inviting you today to explore with us 6 lenses of product leadership that give us entry points to unlock creativity from different angles. So let's check it out.
So our agenda is very, very straightforward. We'll start with a quick overview of the 6 stances of product leadership, and we will also highlight the enabling conditions for creativity. Then we will explore energy systems behind the model, the synergies and tensions between the stances, and we will wrap up with some ideas for creative practices that can help you develop your capabilities in each of the stances.
So you might have some questions pop up regularly, and we'll ask for you to note them down, and I know at the end you'll have a chance to add them to Slido, and we have some time that we've reserved to respond to your questions. But right now I'd like to ask you, how many of you feel overwhelmed with product leadership at times? Let me see a show of hands. There's a few of you. And the rest of you, maybe we'd like to have a conversation with you afterwards, because there's probably stuff that we can learn from you.
Yeah, how do you keep your emotions in check?
Yes. So based on our experience, we have distilled down this complexity that we see in product leadership into 6 stances that a product leader is called to take as they creatively navigate their product reality. They are the 6 lenses through which we look at our product. Or you can think of them as the 6 perspectives that a product needs to for effective and creative product leadership. You can also think of them as the vantage points we take as we compose and design and evangelize and give life to our product, right? So enough of that background. Let's actually unpack them.
Yeah, let's unpack them, starting with the first stance, with a quite good name, visionary. Compelling vision, inspiring presence, inviting the future. Visionary is the stance combining entrepreneurial spirit, courage, impressive grit, and charismatic engagement. Visionaries are futuristic, passionate, and tend to generate a ton of unconventional ideas. Visionaries Key focus areas typically include transferability of benefits across domains, the potential of outliers and multipliers in the global trends, and applicability of new insights and discoveries. Next on is the strategist. Understanding the playing field, contemplating possible options for the next several moves and scenarios. There is a reason we chose a chess piece to represent this stance. Strategist is the very pragmatic stance, well informed about their business landscape, especially competition, very steady and consistent. Strategist is organized and objective. This is the stance that is capable of removing emotion from their decision-making process. Strategist focuses on contingency plans, assessing possibilities, and placing bets that could increase the probability to win. Followed by the system thinker, observing patterns and abnormalities, connecting the dots, understanding the impact. System thinker is all about meaning-making and recognizing dependencies. System thinkers are able to see the whole and the parts. They consider consequences and cascading effects of the decisions. Their focus areas typically include integrity of choices, holistic perspective, and the ability to model the behavior of the system, whatever that system is.
Well, next up is the value navigator. Dynamically adjusting to what's emerging, incorporating feedback and insights into their daily work. Now, this stance is the most practical and responsive. And I think it's the most hands-on stance. So they're always assessing the environment around them, and then are able to adapt and pivot and mobilize as the context changes. You recognize that stance? What they care about is what's the next most valuable move, and how can we learn faster? All right, let's welcome the next one, a customer advocate. Cultivating customer centricity every step of the way, always keeping the customer's best interest at heart. The customer advocate is that #1 activist when it comes to user experience and customer support. They'll go that extra mile on behalf of their customer with genuine curiosity, empathy, and care. And what they care about? What are my customers' pain points? What are their unmet needs? How do we delight them in a way that will make them our fans? And last but not least, the storyteller. Tailoring the message so that it lands on the intended audience, inspiring and engaging through stories. The storytellers are the ultimate translators of those abstract ideas and concepts into experiences that are relatable, personalized, engaging. They're deeply attuned to their audience and expressive in a way that allows us to be able to imagine and access different realities. What they care about is the audience. What do they care about? What motivates them? And how can I craft key messages in a way that lands and sticks? All right, so there you have it, the 6 stances of product leadership. Yes, there's overlap between the stances. But what we want to emphasize is the gravity points and not focus on distinct definitions of each. So as we go through this, hold them lightly. And you're probably already processing and thinking about product leaders, or you yourself, who have developed strong capabilities in 1 or 2 of these stances. But we believe that to be effective, we need to consciously attend to all of them.
So, now that you got a little bit more familiar with product leadership stances, you already probably can see that some of them feel closer to you than the others. So we would like to ask you, the audience in the room and in the virtual room, to tell us, what is one stance that you feel most confident and comfortable operating in and from? What is your way into the system, meaning-making place? Because through our research and experience, we noticed that product leaders typically have a strong preference towards one stance, the home stance, where they tend to hang out most of the time. We call it go-to stance. So, please, participate in our little poll in the Mentimeter and tell us, what is your go-to stance? And of course, same as myself and Anjali, you probably feel torn between a couple, but pick just one that resonates most with you.
Well, we see all of them being represented in this room, which is wonderful.
I think our prediction kind of is getting fulfilled. We were betting, preparing for this talk, and our prediction was that we will have a lot of system thinkers. And I think it's just a marker of time, because the current product reality is that products are really complex. And who else thrives in complexity rather than a system thinker?
Yeah.
All right.
We have a pretty even set of focus, go-to stances as strategist and customer advocate, too.
Well, I love that we see different stances on this slide, and that there is absolutely no one that is missing. And it also shows that, hey, we have different talents in product leadership. It's not just one thing. All right, moving on.
Now, creativity in product leadership is an emergent quality. And as such, there are some enabling conditions to allow it to thrive. So what are those? Number one, you all talked about craft, just competence. That is the skills, the knowledge, the expertise that you as a product leader bring to optimize customer and business value through the creation and evolution of the products and services that you work on. Next is connection. This is those long-term, generative relationships that you as a product leader cultivate both inside and outside your organization for the benefit of addressing a customer's unmet need in a way that also creates valuable outcomes for your organization. And
last but not least, it's collaboration like the one you see on the stage. Because product leadership is woven with the threads of diverse skills and talents, and collaboration is the only way to make a meaningful change happen. And impactful product leadership requires all three. Each of these enabling conditions nurtures creativity, becoming a source of original ideas, passions, and serendipities. So now, we've taken a look at the 6 stances. We know the surrounding and enabling conditions for creativity. Let's take a look how the stances interact with each other. Embedded in the stances are the so-called paradoxes that could either amplify them or disrupt them. How can one be simultaneously competing on strategy and collaborating for impact, attending to long-term direction and discovering short-term wins, be data-informed and empathetic? Well, if you look a little closer, you will notice that these stances have some natural synergies as well as some inherent tensions. So, the stances we placed next to each other share some superpowers. Can you see how the adjacent stances have some overlapping characteristics? Each of the stances supports their two neighbors.
Let's zoom into an example. You can see how the visionary becomes exceptional with outstanding storytelling skills and a strategic perspective. Blending the skills of a storyteller and a strategist, a visionary is able to articulate a resilient and compelling vision with a grounded assessment of its potential. Now imagine an impactful product leader who wants to enroll her team in the vision of a new idea she has. So she steps into her visionary stance, holding that idea. And she thinks about the skills that she has developed as a storyteller and a strategist. So she leans into the storyteller, thinking about the audience, what motivates them. What are some metaphors that she might be able to use? What are some stories that she might be able to tell to help them connect to her vision? She leans into the strategist, thinking about what might be some risks and concerns that they might have. And what are some viable paths towards the vision that can help them build confidence? So you can see how a visionary skills that are amplified with synergies can create a powerful invitation and an inspiring alignment towards a creative game plan. Now, the stances that we have placed opposite each other experience some generative tensions or paradoxes. Do you see that? We also call them polarities. They pull in seemingly opposite directions. Now, sometimes, in many cases, product leaders oscillate between these two seemingly opposite choices or perspectives. They use either-or thinking instead of leveraging both of them in a creative way. So while the synergies that we talked about hold the stances together, the tensions have the potential of pulling them apart if they're not acknowledged and leveraged. You know, we find tensions to be pretty promising because where there's tension, there's potential. Right?
Yeah, and here is the example to illustrate one of those tensions. Think about the storyteller who is focused on subjective perception, and the system thinker who is anchored in objective reality. So no wonder that storyteller will be motivated by evoking emotion and truly inviting audience in and offering creative metaphors and anchoring key messages. On the other hand, the system thinker will take a little bit more abstracted position. They will be craving data. They will be detecting patterns and abnormalities. They will be analyzing interrelated dynamics and reflecting upon evolving ecosystems. I mean, this all sounds very hypothetical, so let me place you in the situation where I would imagine lots of you have been in the room looking at the same set of data, analyzing user feedback on your product or service. So while they're the same data that you look at, you might notice that some product leaders will be heavily inclined to cherry pick some data points that reinforce already established narrative, and others would be never satisfied no matter how much data you give them, because they will say, well, that's not representative of the system. And they will tend to overcomplicate the story. So in reality, truly creative solutions emerge when we leverage polarities. Because these generative tensions, these energy systems, hold the key to unlocking creative potential when we use the opposite stances in the service of each other. Data becomes truly alive and gets the meaning when it is shared in the story. And the story becomes reliable and credible when it's backed up by data. Best strategies start with the customer. And the customer is best served with a consistent strategy. So there are so many use cases for product leadership stances. And today, we'd like to quickly share with you 3 ways that probably help you get more access to your creative spirit. And the first one, which we already started doing, by the way, wink, wink, is in the service of recognizing a go-to stance. Because when you do acknowledge your go-to stance, it can bring more awareness to understanding your superpowers, but also possible blind spots. Additionally, it can help you grow the ability to consciously look at and look as certain stances, so that you are more aware about your habitual way of responding in the moment, so that you can broaden available choices to you and understand product complexity better. And of course, once you understand your go-to stance as the natural gravity point for your personal comfort zone, hey, maybe you can put the spotlight on the edges and get encouraged to explore them. And the edges are the stances that you tend to avoid, dismiss, or skip altogether.
Now, the second way is to be able to make sure or ensure that you are using all of those perspectives when you're looking at your product. To take a holistic approach. Now, this doesn't mean that you need to spend equal amounts of time in each of these stances, or that you need to lean into all of them all of the time. But imagine doing a regular review of your product across all 6 stances. You might be able to become aware or activate diverse thinking that will uncover some unexpected or unusual ideas that you might never have thought about otherwise. The next thing that you could do, now when you're using those set of diverse perspectives, you'll naturally experience the synergies. But you'll also experience the inherent conflicts among them, especially when you're trying to step into a less familiar stance. But a healthy stretch into a less familiar stance might broaden your horizons. You might be able to notice some inconsistencies and gaps sooner than you would have otherwise. So lean into when you're in a situation and you naturally go to your go-to stance, see if you can stretch a little bit and try to look at things from the opposite stance. And as you're taking all of these different perspectives, you might need to be able to effectively shapeshift amongst those various perspectives. So how do you learn and discern what stance you need in what context? Here I'd say apply a little bit of self-coaching. So when you're in that particular context, just take a little pause and ask yourself, who am I called to be right now? What qualities and characteristics do I need in this moment? And now that you have a model and some language around it, you can consciously and intentionally shift into a stance that's needed in that moment. And what about some professional growth opportunities?
I would really hope that lots of people came to this talk hoping to get bits and pieces of professional growth. So product leadership stances can support you, can enable you to develop necessary capabilities consistently. You can use tailored practices to develop very specific skills and enhance your confidence in a selected stance. And in a minute, we will share with you some examples of creative practices for each stance. Well, based on the stance you want to strengthen, you could be proactively seeking opportunities to exercise new muscles and challenge yourself. And of course, furthermore, by disclosing your go-to stance to others and encouraging your colleagues and peers to do the same, you will be in a much better position to recognize each other's gifts and support each other to grow mastery in different stances. But hey, we're in a professional conference. We strongly recommend nurture your professional network with those whose stances are different from your own and who excel at different stances. So, now that you have at least 3 ways to use the modal, you already can start unlocking your creativity, but to get you started, we prepared a set of mini practices. But okay, it's not a very usual talk, let's be honest. So fair warning, the practices we're going to offer are a bit unconventional. Everybody's intrigued. We just want to remind you that the majority of skills and insights are transferable.
Right, let's start with some skills for the visionary. So to tap into that bold, risk-taking of a nature of a visionary, here's an unconventional practice. Wear mismatched socks to your next in-person meeting. Make sure they're showing a little bit. Actually do it for all your in-person meetings. The more consequential, the better. Practice your power pose, maybe something like this, that invites an openness to ideas and boosts your confidence in order to be able to express yourself. And to be able to stimulate your imagination and cross-pollination of ideas, here's maybe a daily practice that you can use. Think of any just regular object around your house, maybe a coffee cup, or a pen, or a shoe, and think about 10 use cases for that particular object that don't involve its direct functional purpose, and you've got to do it fast. So if you think about the coffee cup, well, I can use a coffee cup to plant my plants. I can maybe hang my jewelry on it. Oh, I can use it to draw a circle. Maybe I can use it to bake a cupcake. Or I can break it up into smaller pieces and create a mosaic out of it. You see where we're going? Well, let's go into the next one.
All right. So to get grounded in the strategist stance, make sure to list at least 3 possible options for solutions for every problem you encounter. Make it a habit to reverse engineer success of something or someone, to identify keys to winning in specific contexts. And of course, learn to play strategy games like Go, chess, or Battleship. Anybody play strategy games here?
Yay.
Computer games? Here you go, on the way to go to become great strategists.
All right, for the systems thinker, you can visualize your line of thinking, see connections, dependencies, long-term impacts, etc., by doing the simple practice of mind mapping. So I encourage you to do a daily practice of mind mapping. Now here's another unconventional one. Try to reorganize your office for efficiency and flow. You might start to reevaluate how you work, and it'll definitely reveal some of your patterns. And then we always, play is a great stimulator for creativity, and doing puzzles is a great example of that. So to be able to see the whole and the parts and how things are connected, do puzzles. The more complex the puzzle, the better. So we challenge you to 1,000+ piece puzzles.
Okay. So for the value navigator, to enhance your presence and observation skills, consciously practice walking at different speeds. Sounds simple, but believe me, it's much harder than you think. To strengthen your experimentation muscle, try at least 3 new things every day, be it brushing your teeth with a different hand, taking a different route home, trying a new dish, talking to a new person, new colleague from a different department. And to improve your situational awareness and developing your quick judgment skills, learn to play poker. I mean, I cannot believe I'm promoting gambling from the stage, but that's for skills building, so that's okay.
All right, so the customer advocate, and this is a great one to be able to practice in this conference. Build connection with other people by asking and then remembering their names. And here's where you can go a little bit further. See if you can notice their eye color. Enhance your observation skills. Right, to truly empathize with your customer and how they see your product, well, use your product just like your customer would. No special codes, no backdoor access. Call this dog fooding, or eat your own dog food. Or be a mystery shopper. See how your users find your products amongst your competitors, are able to buy it, and how they start using it. And then to practice building relationships and truly advocating for the needs of others. Volunteer in your local community for a cause that has some meaning for you. And last
but not least, to find your voice as a storyteller. Start humming or singing in the shower. Your family members or roommates will be very happy for you. Learn to craft subjects of your emails in a way that convey essence, but also prompts people to actually read your emails till the end. And to stretch your self-expression in an engaging way, and maybe share it with others. Join the improv class, Toastmasters, or debate club. As we're wrapping up, we want to tell you that creativity is playful, experimental, serendipitous, and messy. And today, we shared with you some serious modal to help you activate your playfulness and hopefully encourage you to experiment with the way you lead in your product work. So, we would like to encourage you to engage in serious playfulness with intention. Experience the freedom of your choices. Stay open to surprises and invite others to the playground.
We want to wrap up by reiterating this quote that you see on the screen. You know, creativity is not a rare ability. It is not difficult to access. Creativity is a fundamental aspect of just being human. And it is for all of us. And those are in the words of Rick Rubin. So we want to ask you, how will you make product leadership your creative way of being?
Thank you. That's all.
We thank you all for being such an awesome, attentive audience. We really appreciate all of your engagement.
We have time for only one question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Very sadly, we only have time for one question because our next talk is in 10 minutes. I think that Jofi has a very on-point question here. Have you tried practicing some of these yourself? If yes, which ones?
Who wants?
So it's interesting about, we each have our go-to stance. You might have been able to even guess it in the way we interact with each other and this topic. And so once we recognize that, we realize that we actually support two opposite stances.
My go-to stance is a strategist, and you have a very strong customer advocate. And that's why we have really engaging, immersed conversations.
Yeah.
And we're able to appreciate the perspective, knowing that our go-to stance, our biases are right, but they're partial. Because, hey, in the end, everybody's right, but only partially.
Yes. And we each have a little bit of good skills in each of the other stances. So collectively, I think we address all of these stances quite effectively for the work that we do together and in our own work as well.
Yeah.
Nadezhda, Anjali, thank you so very much for being here with us. Before we say goodbye, I have 2 gifts, or 4. pictures and some Hungarian tea.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You can show the picture to the camera.